There's the back part of my grade school right here. Last change shows those windows weren't there, and there wasn't much for air conditioning. And the playground was in the area. It was a bare grass. That's all it was. And since there was no air conditioning back then, back in this school anyway, back when I was there, it gotten awfully hot. So you usually had to get out of school about 2:30. And we didn't have that much of a playground. They didn't have that much of a playground either. It's all nice and metal now. It's all nice and plastic, so we don't get burnt on it. And that's the home I used to live in. It didn't look like that because there used to be a tree. Used to be a tree right there, and didn't have two garages. It's one, and it was painted that light shade of green. And apartment house there, that never existed. It was all just an empty lot, and so was that. There's the grade school again. And like I said, back then I went through grades 4 through 8 here, but for the first 3 years I went to 5 miles north here to a little small schoolhouse. Don't ask me, and I don't know the politics on it, but certain people spent the whole 8 years here, and then some people like me got an older sibling, depending how the politics work. If you live maybe south of town into the country, go to a schoolhouse that's 6 miles from here, which no longer exists. Anyway, you spend your first 6 years here and then go send junior high here. And then for me, spent 3 years out 5 miles north of town and spent the rest of the grade schools here. And this was great because all I have to do is walk across the school and I'm in class, so it'll take about 5 minutes. So I can watch TV till about 8:15 and head to school. And of course right here, this never existed. That's the computer room. And I could build up when I was in school as well. Tennis court. Now it's just a basketball court. Okay, on we go. Okay, a few more pictures from home. That's where I used to live at when I was first born. Of course, it looked a lot different then than it does now. Different. And then let's see. That's the house I lived in when my sister was born. Right there. Okay, more sights and sounds of home. That right there is train depot. I used to work here back when I was growing up. And it used to be train tracks that cut along right here. But the railroad company suspended the operations from traveling, so like from Peoria to Chicago, so they chopped that off. And also say like from Champaign to Chicago as well. South-north tracks here too. Let's turn around. There's Forest Motel right there, where And families stay for a little while before the house across from the grade school got built. And right there, there's beautiful downtown Forest. Zoom in a little bit. That right there is my truck. That's the Legion Hall there. And right down there is the only bar in town. In between, it used to be the old firehouse. And then we got the bank, a few businesses, the grocery store, and meat locker, and that's about it, folks. And of course, when I was a kid, there used to be a water tower right there, but it got dismantled in the last decade for the other one that's north of town, which they got built in the late 90s. And there's the post office. And that's it. That's all beautiful downtown Forest. Still driving around town. This is downtown right here, the only grocery store there is. They sell hamburgers and cheeseburgers for lunch. And first, when I was a kid, well, you see all those little banners right there? They use road cones to make candles out of them. A little holly and all that. And make a left turn here. And then all along the highway here, they had ornaments hanging from end to end. Used to be a big one where that light is. And then I had strung ornaments all the way down the street here. And they usually come on about 5-minute intervals, so you can just time when each one will come on. And it's really nice to see them sway back and forth when it's really windy during the winter time. Usually have them hung up about 2 weeks for Christmas and take it down about 2 weeks after. Usually on a Sunday, because that's least traffic going on. And now, coming up to the old swimming hole here, where not only I got to swim, but also it got real cold enough for a couple of days. Get the ice skate. And that's it. Had a lot more water back then. And a few more rafts, but this is where we used to swim at. And right there used to be where the diving board was. And that says it all right there. Forest Lake. It used to be a gravel pit. So they took out the gravel and put that in, but it's hardly ever used anymore. Like I said, when it's used to be frozen over, you can go ahead and skate on it. This one here, well, all covered by shrub, that used to have water in there as well. It's all dried up. Okay, now coming up to the third house I lived in. since I've been alive, and that's it. Little creek right there. I think it's be a nice little field for sheep farm. Graze at. But that's the house. It was way a lot different back then than the shed over there. And all those shrubs right here never existed. But that's where I used to live in. Right there. Of course, there's one story from there I remember, and that is Mom left the keys in the house and all the doors were locked, so I had to go up the ladder to the my bedroom window, which was open, and I had to open up the doors. Of course, that was about 2 or 3 years old. And you can tell from the windshield, yeah, it's raining. And I kind of take the scenic route because, one, that's where I live, right behind us. And also they're doing bridge work back home, so that's why I'm taking this spot right here.